YouTubers too.
Yeah.
We got YouTube, we got Facebook, we got live on One Step.
One Step Prep Camera. 1SP family. All right. Cool.
Let's do this.
Let's do this. Let me make sure my thing is on.
Is my mic on?
It is on.
Check, 1, 2.
It is on.
All right.
All right. Here we go. What's going on, guys? Joe Munoz from OneStepPrep.com. I'm here with another J today from the 1SP family, which is my sister, Jackie Munoz. Okay, Jackie Munoz. Jackie Munoz, for those of you that didn't know, my sister Jacqueline is her full name. Jacqueline Munoz is a flight attendant for a company well known. A lot of you probably know for who. All right, but anyway, what we're going to do here is actually talk about a little bit of the interview stuff. Okay, I'm going to talk to her specifically about her experience going for an interview at the carrier where she's at right now. And also, we're going to talk about kind of what are the things that she did to prepare. What are some of the questions that were asked? How she, got through all that, and how she felt. So, anyway, with no further ado, let's get into this. So, the first question.
Yes,
All right.
First question.
All
Thanks for having me.
All right.
I'm so happy to be part of the One Step family.
Okay. All right. Good, man. So by the way, this is streaming on Facebook and YouTube and wherever we're at, Instagram. We got the 1SP camera in front of us here. What's going on, world? All right. Let's get into this thing. So the first question I have for you, Jackie, okay, is how did you feel when they notified you of the interview, right? Okay, so you applied for the interview, right? And then somehow, some way, how long did it take for them to get back to you? You applied, and then when did they get back to you? About how long did it take?
It was like 2 weeks.
Okay, 2 weeks.
Pretty fast.
Yeah, so it was like 2 weeks. It was fairly quick. By the way, that may not be the case for you. I mean, it could take.
Some airlines take longer.
Yeah, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Pilot position too is a little bit different. How long it's going to take. But so she applies. It takes her 2 weeks. Did they call you? Did they email you? Did they do both? What did they do?
They emailed me. Everything was through via email. Okay,
so everything is email. They email her. All right. So, and then how did that go? How did you feel when they said, okay, we're offering you this interview? How did you feel at that moment?
I felt excited. I was nervous, but I was excited. I submitted my application and everything just kind of like rolled from there. And it was almost like, I don't know, it was quick.
Everything happened quick. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. So,
but it was exciting for sure.
It was exciting and it was nerve-wracking.
Like, oh my God, it's going to happen.
All right. Awesome.
They want me to come in for an interview.
Okay. So now when you get that, of course, you're probably getting, like anybody, she's probably got these butterflies going on. It's like, oh, I got to prepare for this thing. What do I do to prepare? How do I prepare? Whatever. Right. So let's talk about that. How did you prepare? Okay. Obviously, I know I'm going to an interview. I mean, how did you prepare? Apart from I got to look nice and dress, beautifully, and all these things that everybody knows, but what did you do? How did you prepare for this?
I did a lot of research. So I would recommend, I researched my company. I researched what they were about, how long they've been around. I also researched some potential interview questions that might be asked to me during the interview.
Yeah.
And I just studied it. I studied the material of what I possibly could be asked during the portion of the entire interview. And I also I wrote all the questions down, and I recorded myself actually answering the questions to see if, how I presented myself, because I didn't want to sound robotic. I wanted things to kind of flow.
Yeah.
So I wanted to see my performance on camera. So I would study that, study myself, and then that's pretty much how I prepped.
So that's interesting. So you said, so I'm just writing down here. By the way, if you're, I hope you guys are taking notes also on this. If you're not, I recommend you do. Of course, you can go back and play this as many times as you need. But so one of the things she said is she researched her company, and then probable interview questions, not necessarily for her company, but for any company. By the way, we have a lot of these probable interview questions within this very course. And then one of the things also is you recorded yourself. So you said you wanted to see yourself on camera. So you didn't record just the audio, but literally you recorded yourself on video. You recorded a video.
Yeah.
And then you looked at, how you were answering, right?
Right.
So when you went for the interview and you researched the company, did they ask you anything about the company? Like, what do you know about this company or anything like that? Did they ask you that kind of stuff?
Yeah, they did.
A little bit? Okay.
Yeah, they didn't get too in depth about it, but they did ask some.
Yeah. Would you say you were probably over prepared?
I think so.
Yeah.
But I had much rather been over prepared than under.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. No, I agree. You always want to be over prepared, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, you want to be over prepared.
Because as nervous as I was going into it, I knew, okay, like, but I've done all I can do to prepare myself as much as I can. So,
yeah. Okay. Would you rather be over prepared or under prepared? Okay, come on. We're talking a one-step prep right here. Okay. So she's over prepared, which is a good thing, by the way. Researches the company, the interview questions, and then, of course, you record yourself. And that's an interesting thing too. Look, I recommend you do that. Record yourself and play it back. And then, ask yourself, based on how I just answered, would I hire myself?
Yeah.
Right. So you got to understand what it is they're looking for, when they're doing this interview. And I won't go too much into that here. I'm going to make this more about just chatting with Jackie about it. But you actually do have all these video segments within the course that kind of talk to you more about what it is they're looking for. But anyway, let me bring something up here, something called cattle call or fishbowl. Like, what does that even mean? What is cattle call or fishbowl?
I mean, cattle call is when they have hundreds of people that show up to the interview, hundreds and hundreds of people all at once, and they just call us all into a room at once. And depending on the airline, some of them will have what is called a fishbowl round or like a beauty pageant round, where you pick a question and you have to answer it.
Okay.
They're not worried about what the answer is. They just want to see how fast you can answer the question.
Yeah.
They want to see that, you can answer quickly and react on your toes if need be.
Oh, that's interesting.
So that is a round that is very nerve-wracking and can get to a lot of people. But if you do your research, you study.
Yeah. Are they asking you anything airplane related? Like,
no.
Like they're not saying, what is how crucial is it for somebody to know what is a fuselage or a wing?
No.
They're not asking that kind of stuff, right?
Everything is based, I would say, off of customer service experience.
Okay.
They want to get to know about you. What is your favorite show? What is your favorite book? If you had an encounter with this type of guest, how would you solve the issue or the problem? Stuff like that.
Okay. So that's interesting. If I had this type of issue, how would I respond to that? Right.
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, we're getting a lot of, you see me looking off. I got 3 different cameras going here. We got one on YouTube, one from Ali. Pretty lady. Thanks a lot, man. That's for Jackie.
Oh, thank you.
Do you need to have a medical training, for example, from a doctor to become a flight attendant? I've heard some cases, maybe this is a better question for Jackie, but
for my particular airline, no, they do not require any type of medical. They just do a background check, but it's nothing like, you don't need to go to a physician or anything like that. Like pilots have to get every year their medical.
Yeah.
Not for flight attendants, at least for my airline, but I don't.
Yeah. Okay. So for her carrier, she didn't need to get a medical. I guess for some carriers, maybe you need to get a medical. By the way, they should tell you that in the interview email, right? And moreover, probably it would be in the welcome interview, welcome email once you get there. So maybe not. I don't think so. I mean, that would be my take on that. Somebody else says, "Hi guys, just finished my OPC. Thanks for your videos." Thank you, brother, Mr. John. Appreciate you. Somebody over there on the Facebook. Love you guys. Love you too. Hi guys. Hi. What's going on? All right. So cattle call, fishbowl. Everybody comes in, and
the line starts out the door early.
How do I? Before I ask you this question, let me not deviate off of this. You said there's a beauty pageant and they ask you these questions. It's a beauty pageant round. Like they're asking you these questions. We already established it's nothing airplane related, nothing where you need to have studied prior, but rather it's just they see how you react on the spot. Okay. All right. So now let me go back to this cattle call or fishbowl. Like, how do you stand out in a crowd of 100 or 200 people? I mean, that's kind of a tough question. Like, how do I stand out? By the way, well, how did you stand out? Like, what were your thoughts?
I mean, that's what I thought too. Like, how am I going to stand out? Because there was over at least 500 of us, 600 of us.
500 to 600 people.
In this one interview. It was one day of an interview. And I'm like, oh my God, like how are you supposed to make an impression when there's 600 of you and there's like, I don't know how many recruiters.
Yeah. So I mean, that's something to think about. Like, how do I stick out of a crowd of a sea of people, 500 to 600 people? By the way, there's ways to do that. You won't find it in necessarily this video. It's within the actual other video segments. But I can tell you, everything is important. Everything from appearance on your dress, and then also body language, tonality, your communication ability, and getting back to that number one question they're trying to answer, which is, are you somebody worthy of spending time with? How do you influence them into saying, yeah, you are? Right. So that's in the other video segments. But okay, so the cattle call is they have a huge sea of people, and you're trying to stand out in front of all these people and say, remember me out of all these people. I'm the one worthy of being hired.
Right.
When you did the cattle call, are you being interviewed in front of everybody? Like, there's 500, 600 people. Is it a stage and you walk up on the stage and everybody's being there in front of you? Or like, is it a private room and you're by yourself? Or how does that work?
Yeah, everything. So you're broken off into groups.
Okay.
So for my carrier, we had different color groups. You may have a different number group. You may have a different shape group. Ours was colors. So let's say I was in the gold group. So everybody goes off into their different groups. They break them off, I want to say, into like maybe 50 or 60 people each.
Okay.
So everybody kind of breaks off. Then you start with the pageant round. Then you go to
When you're answering questions on the spot, you're answering in front of 50 people.
Yes. Yeah. Everything you're in one room with your group and the recruiters. And when they call you up to do the fishbowl or the pageant round, you're there up front in front of everybody answering your question. So it is intimidating. But
yeah. Okay.
I mean, it's just something that you have to just kind of be like, you know what? Like, I'm just going to answer this question. Whatever I get is whatever I get.
Yeah, just be relaxed and go with it.
Yeah.
Like, how do you do that in a relaxed fashion? I mean, that's kind of
right.
Like, how comfortable are you speaking in public? I mean, it really kind of depends on your background.
That's the other thing they want to know, because it's also like they want to see if you can project your voice, because it's a big room. So they also want to see if you're able to project your voice loud enough so that the back of the room, because there's recruiters in the back of the room, if they can hear you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're very soft-spoken, because they think about emergency situations and stuff like that in an aircraft. If you're very soft-spoken, I don't think you're going to be able to evacuate a plane.
Yeah. You gotta understand, like, correct me if I'm wrong on this, you gotta understand what the job is that you're interviewing for.
Exactly.
Like we're not interviewing to sell tires. We're interviewing to be a flight attendant. So so what does a flight attendant do? Right? I mean, or what are they looking for you? They need presentation. You're going to be dealing with the public. You're going to be dealing not with 50, 60 people. You're going to be dealing with upwards of 100 plus people.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
On any given flight, multiple times a day. So really, if you're doing 3 flights a day and everyone is full with 150, I mean, you're talking about dealing with 450 people for the day. Are you a people person? Okay.
Exactly. You have to be.
Yeah. Okay. So fair enough. And then if things go south, I mean, she brings up a good point. Can you project your voice? I didn't even really think about that.
Yeah, that's something that they look for sure.
Yeah. So answer with confidence, I would say.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. That's a given.
So, you did the interview. Okay, by the way, if you're watching live and you have a question on this, like drop it in comments. And if this isn't live by the time you're looking at it and you're watching it within the interview prep course for the flight attendant program, and you do have a question, hit the contact us tab and send in your question using the form there. We'll try to get back to you as soon as we possibly can. Usually we do it within 24 hours. All right. A couple things to recap quick. She said she recorded herself. If you want to record yourself and have her or myself or one of our team members here look at your responses and say, you're doing this right, you're not doing this right, you could just give you some critique. I mean, we can do that, or if you find yourself local in the Miami area, you want to come in and stop by and meet us in person, you can do that too. Or welcome to 2019 with internet everywhere and the ability to chat virtually. Okay, we can do a virtual session as well. We can do interview prep with you. By the way, maybe you're not a flight attendant and you're actually a pilot, or you want to be a pilot, or you know somebody who's a pilot, or you know somebody who has nothing to do with aviation, but they want to do an interview. We can still help you out. Okay. All right, let me get back into this. How long until they got back to you, right? So you do this cattle call, you do the pageant round.
You do the one-on-one.
Okay, so let me go there. Okay, because I actually wasn't aware of that. Let me stop there.
Yeah, there is a one-on-one. There's like 3 segments before they say yes or no.
Okay, so walk me through that. The first one is, what's the first one?
The first one is the fishbowl or the pageant round.
Yeah. Okay. And then
Once you get past that,
you have to get past that. If you don't get past that,
right,
it's done.
right,
So you'll know that you're succeeding.
correct.
Okay, because
If
they're
once
gonna.
you pass that, you're like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
one step closer.
Okay. I like that. So now I'm into round two. This is all one day, right?
Hmm.
How long of a day is this?
Oh my God. My day started at 5 a.m. and it ended at 5 p.m.
Yeah. So it's the whole day. It's 12 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. So here I am going into I guess it's second round.
Hmm.
Okay. What is that? How does that work?
So you do the fishbowl.
Mm-hmm.
Then, oh my God, it's been so long. What was the second thing you said before that?
Before that was we do the fishbowl, and then there's a second. Once you finish the fishbowl and you're successful at it, usually you go into a second round. Is that like a one-on-one thing?
That's the last stage, is the one-on-one. So, and now I'm blanking at what I did before the one-on-one.
Yeah. And by the way, it's probably different for everybody.
Yeah.
Most
likely it is.
It's probably different for your company compared to whatever it is that she did at hers. But did they shrink you into groups of like 3, 4, 5?
For the one-on-one?
No, I guess like after you do the cattle call thing. Okay, I did the cattle call and I passed, and now I'm going into a smaller group.
Mm-hmm.
Like, were you ever with maybe 2 people or 3 people or 4, or was it kind of like you were always with a big crowd?
And that was maybe it may have gone down to like 10 people.
So it shrunk to like 10.
Yeah.
What if you were in the cattle call and like you didn't answer properly? Would you have known right away? Like, would they just say get out of the room, or like how do they tell you that? Like,
so they would leave you in the room, and then because we all had numbers, they would call your number, and so they would call you out.
Okay.
And depending on the group, if you got in, then they'd leave you in the room. If you didn't, they'd call you out. So it fluctuated between what they were looking for.
Okay. So now you get past the cattle call, you're doing a one-on-one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the one-on-one.
How does that go?
You go in, they first want to see if you're able to lift the luggage, which is like 50 pounds or so. So they have you test, okay, I can lift up a carry-on into an overhead bin. They want to see that you can do that.
How hard is that to do?
It's not hard at all.
So like, I mean, you don't need to be an Olympian to do this, right?
Absolutely not. They even have a chair, like acting as the seat of the aircraft, as a passenger seat. So if you need to put the luggage there to then lift it and put it up in the overhead bin, they allow that too. Or if you could just pick it up and put it in. But
yeah, so there you go.
It's very simple. Then they had me read a script of like a welcoming announcement for my carrier.
Okay.
It could be different for everybody. And then they just ask you basic questions. Why do you want to be a flight attendant? Why did you pick us? All the questions I hate because it's on the spot. I'm like,
on the spot answering. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So these are the questions, by the way, that are covered in the video program. So, but they give you a script and they say, here's the welcome announcement. Read this.
Mm-hmm.
So some people, by the way, and maybe you identify with this, maybe this is you I'm talking about, I don't know, but some people have trouble reading in public off of a script that they've never seen before. So, I mean, maybe it would be wise to probably grab something you've never read and just pick it up and just read through it.
Yeah, they also want to see like how you project your voice, how you sound, because you're going to be doing it over a PA.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah.
Do you have the flight attendant voice type of thing, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Do you have the flight attendant voice? Does it sound good? Do you project well? So what I'm saying is, if you know that you don't like reading in public, if you were the kid in school that, you know, when you did popcorn reading and everybody's calling on somebody to read, and you're like trying to shrink up and hide somewhere because you don't want to be called on because maybe you didn't feel comfortable reading, you need to get over that somehow. And so,
yeah, sure.
I don't know, find a book or something in your house or a newspaper article, or just open a social media feed and read some stuff out loud that you haven't read before.
Or you can even Google like announcements.
Yeah, there you go. Just Google an announcement. See, she's more creative.
Record yourself reading the announcement and just practice it over and over, and that's it.
Okay, I like it. So that's the one-on-one thing. You get through the one-on-one. How long before they get back to you?
After the one-on-one, they put you in another room.
Oh, wow. It continues. It keeps going.
I'm telling you, it's an all-day affair. It's like 3 rooms. By the last room, it's called the decision room. And that's where you sit, and they're just going through all of the interview process, because each recruiter has their paper yes, no type of thing. And then by the end of it, they called my number out. So I went outside with a group of a bunch of other people, and they said, congratulations, we want to offer you your CJO, which is your contingent job offer.
So they gave you the offer on the spot.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So we do the fishbowl, we do a one-on-one, we do a final like decision-making room. Who says yay, who says nay? And you got to ask yourself, why would they say yes and why would they say no?
Which I also want to point out that my carrier told me whether I got the job that same day. And then from there, you proceed to doing your background and all these things.
Mm-hmm.
But other airlines, some of them will take a week, 2 weeks to get back to you.
Right. They may not be on the
So it just
spot.
differentiates. But for mine, it was the same day, which was nice.
Okay.
But it was definitely an all-day affair.
Did they give you lunch?
Yeah, we had a lunch.
Oh, they gave
break.
you lunch.
Yeah.
You had a break and they provided the lunch too?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. All right, cool.
But
so how long did it get to get back to you? For you, it was the same day then. Did they ask you the question why you? Why should we hire you?
Yeah, and the one-on-one.
I
was waiting for it. I'm like, they're gonna ask me why me. I'm like,
how do you answer something like that?
I mean,
you got to get creative.
I feel like obviously the answer that everybody would probably say would be, oh, because I want to travel and the benefits. Which that's definitely like a perk.
Yeah, or if they said, why do you want to be a flight attendant?
Right.
Because I want to travel.
Exactly.
Don't say that. Everybody says that.
Yeah, don't. Now, to my advantage, my whole family clearly is involved in aviation, so it was easy for me to answer. But I also, I have always, and it sounds cliche, but I've always wanted to be a flight attendant, and maybe everybody else would probably be saying the same thing. But I grew up around being in the aviation industry, so for me, it was just natural to want to do this as a career. So that's what I explained to them. I explained to them that I have family that's involved in the aviation industry, all of the above. And I guess they took interest in that as well. And so
yeah, okay.
They were interested.
So there you go. I mean, you need to get creative here and you need to say something that not everybody's going to say. I mean, what everybody's going to say is I love to travel.
And why me? Because I have years of working in customer service and I feel like I would benefit to working with them. Like I would be a good asset to their company.
So she had years of working in customer service.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if you're watching this and you're like, well, I don't have years of working in customer service. Well, you got to have something.
If you're a people person, you could do the job.
There you go. So everybody has a personality. You just say you have a personality.
Right.
I mean, if it's not actual experience that you have, then it's something internal, like what she says, people person. Mm-hmm. I have a uplifting personality, whatever, positive energy, etc. Like you need to capitalize on all this stuff. You need to tell them everything that would be relevant for the job that you're going for, which is flight attendant, and it would make you a good candidate for that.
Absolutely.
I mean, I would think.
Yeah, for sure.
By the way, I mean, I'm a pilot, and we literally fly at the same company. And when I went for an interview, it's a little bit different, but at the same time, they're still trying to ask the same question, or they're still trying to answer rather the same question. Mm-hmm. And the question they're trying to answer is, why are you somebody worth giving a shot to, worth our time? Why are you the best fit for the job?
Yeah.
And you're trying to prove that to them because to a certain degree, everybody there is qualified. Otherwise, you never would have gotten a call. I mean,
exactly. There were 600 of us. So they want to know why you out of all these 600
out of all these people, yeah.
And maybe like 300 got through.
Somebody's getting hired.
Right.
Like you need to take control of it and make sure it's you, though.
Yeah, it's a matter of making the impression. The other thing I want to say is to dress the part.
Yeah, so let me stop talking because you have all your notes to say. Like, what would you tell these people? Forget about me. I'm going to get out of here.
No, I mean,
like you tell me. You tell the guys and the gals watching. Like,
I mean, I would say number one, do your research. Like I said about the company. If you find interview questions that could potentially be, asked to you, mm-hmm. research it. Record yourself. Do that. Mm-hmm. Arrive early. Mm-hmm. I mean, do not be late. Mm-hmm. It shows such a bad first impression. If you can't even be on time to an interview for your company or your dream job, then what makes you think that these people are going to want to hire you? If you can't even show up to your interview on time, what makes them think you're going to be able to show up to the gate on time?
Yeah, so you're right. So like a lot of you only have one chance to make a first impression. There is no second chance to make a first impression, right? So you got to keep that in the back of your head. Also, or actually in the front of your head. Also, a lot of the questions that she's saying, you can get that are maybe potential interview questions. Number one, they're covered in the video. Number two, they're actually within a segment of this course that's not video, but actually it's all written out there. So there's a lot of the questions you're probably going to get on an interview there as well. Just when you get a chance and you back out of this video, maybe you've seen it already before, you'll find it there within the interview prep course itself. So, So what else? What else? I cut you off again. What else did you have?
No, you're fine. So I also want to say dress the part, like I said before. Don't come in anything that is stained or ripped or torn or like
stained, ripped, torn.
Yeah, look professional, look the part, dress as if you're already a flight attendant. Or if you're going on a pilot interview, dress as if you're already a pilot.
That's interesting. Dress as you're already a flight attendant.
That is one thing I have to say, because it definitely does make a big impression, because you almost already stand out. And I got people asking me in the interview, "Are you a flight attendant?" They thought I was one of the recruiters. And I'm like, "No,
wow, that's cool.
I'm here for the interview." They're like, "Oh my God," because I had my hair pulled back in a bun. I had a scarf. That's something else I recommend, is whatever color your company is, wear the color of a scarf of your company.
Their company color.
Yeah, and don't wear too high of a heel. Like I wore just a small heel with skirt, and I actually wore tights as well. You just want to look like you're a flight attendant. You don't want to.
So you're already a flight attendant, so that people approach you and say, "Are you a flight attendant?" And then you're like, "Ask me after 5 p.m. when this is all done, and then I'll have the answer for you, man. Come on." All right.
It's true.
Yeah. So, I mean, dude, if they're asking you if you're a flight attendant already and you're in the interview process.
I was so confused. I'm like, "No, I'm here for the interview."
Yeah,
I mean, because you have the scarf and like your hair, and I'm like, isn't this what you're supposed to look like?
I
don't know.
That's because I prepared.
Right.
I mean, remember how I asked the question? Somebody's getting hired. Who's getting hired? The people that prepare.
I came with a little briefcase with all my required paperwork inside. Like, look the part, dress the part, and you'll be fine. Yeah, for sure.
What else? Anything else? Did I
smile? Interact with the people around you. True. They also want to see, like, can she mingle, or can they mingle, he or she mingle with other people around them? Like, because you could potentially be one of my coworkers, things like that. So they want to see you interacting, talk to the recruiters. Like, don't just be like sitting here, like waiting for the next step.
Right.
So just be social. And yeah, that's pretty much all I wrote. But I don't know, be open-minded, be social.
Open-minded, social, fun.
Definitely have fun. Show that you're having a good time. Yeah.
She's literally pulling the words out of the interview booklet, by the way. It's all in the video program, in the audio program. It's all there. Okay, it's all there. So you got to be fun, social. By the way, maybe you're like, "No, I'm not. I'm an introvert." Right? Which by the way, you're an introvert until you start talking to somebody you know. And then all of a sudden you're not anymore. So you're just in an unfamiliar environment. You gotta. That's just something that will require some time and some training, maybe, to get over that. But that's why her thing is like, let me just record myself and see how I'm answering, and kind of mimic the environment that I'm going to be in. So
you're going to be uncomfortable, but you need to get uncomfortable.
There you go.
You have to.
Otherwise,
because you have to show confidence. You cannot show, obviously they know you're nervous. They know you're nervous. You're here for an airline job, to become a flight attendant.
Yeah.
Hundreds of thousands of people dream to have this job.
Yeah.
But they know you're nervous, but you don't want to show it to the point where they're like, "God, like if we put her on a plane, like, can she even handle this?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to stay calm and collected, for sure.
Yeah. Calm, collected, and composed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for, composure. By the way, I spoke with another very, very nice lady by the name of Deb. Deb has 40 years in the flight attendant game, and she said 2 things that Jackie just said, which is, number one, smile, because the smile in the interview is huge, because you're dealing with people, and so you got to smile. Okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you gotta have fun and be positive, man. Come on. First thing. Second thing that she said is, you got to go in there as if you already have the job. Like, make it as if you already have the job. Deb, who's 40 plus years in the industry, by the way, she works here with us at One Step Prep. If you do come and do in-person training, interview prep, initial or recurrent for flight attendant, you're going to work likely either with Jackie, Deb, and then of course usually myself or Juan, kind of come in and make some guest appearance from kind of a pilot standpoint and a little bit more of the communication and the influence type of deal. So, but you'll be working with them. And the point I'm saying is what they're saying aligns together, which is come in and assume that you already have the gig and kind of portray that persona so that you really show them and give them a better idea of how I'm truly going to perform when I'm out there flying.
Absolutely.
Right. So, all right. Well, I think we've been at this for like 20 or 30 minutes. I don't even really know. I think we'll put it in the middle, say 25. I think I got a lot out of it. I'm writing down some stuff here. We went over everything. What else? Any closing statements? I mean, anything you could say? What's the big thing? What's the big takeaway out of this? I think it's just put the time and the energy and the effort and prepare.
Absolutely. I think that if it's something that you really want, you will do anything for the job. You're going to put in the time, the effort. You're going to make the sacrifice.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. A lot of companies, financially wise, I would say,
it's a sacrifice.
For sure. So if it's something that you really want, really think about it, do your research.
Yeah.
But beats any other job.
There you go. It beats any other job.
I wouldn't change it for anything.
All right. So there you go. If you're not convinced now, I don't know what will.
Definitely do it for sure.
All right. Cool, man. Well, hey, if you have questions, hit the Contact Us tab on the top of the page. Send them in. We usually get bombarded with questions. We try to get back as fast as we can, usually within a 24-hour period. If you want to come work with us here in person in Miami, if you want to work with us virtually online doing a virtual meeting, or if you want us to review videos that you record of yourself answering probable questions, and then we can critique your responses. We can help you with all of that stuff. We look forward to doing it. Thanks, Jackie, for being on the video.
Thanks for having me.
All right. If you see us in an airport, we're both active in the industry. So if you see us around, stop us, say hello, what's up. And yeah, we can't wait to work with you and see you here. Enjoy the course and reach out if we can help you anyway.
Bye, guys. Yay! I didn't know if I should mention my YouTube. Thank God I didn't.
Live and live.
I was going to say, and follow me on YouTube. But then I said,